396-5555. Jacksonville.
Second down, 13. At the 45 of Baltimore. Brunell back in the pocket. Has a bit of time. Now being chased. Plants throws. He's looking downfield. He's got a receiver. And it is caught. Jimmy Smith at the 5. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville. He beats Wayne Starks for 45 yards.
Barks out for signals. Drops to throw. Has time. Fires the slant. Jimmy's got it this time. 35, 30. Middle of the field. 20. He's going to the 20-yard line. He's going to score. 10, 5. Jimmy Smith. Touchdown. And the Jaguars are right back in this ball game.
Barks out the signals. Pressure coming. Steps up. Steps. Turns. Throws. He's got Jimmy. First down, 20. There he goes. 10, 5. Touchdown. Win. Jacksonville. Done under pressure. Steps to avoid. Turns and throws. He's got him in. Caught Jimmy inside the 40-yard line to the 37 and down to the 36.
Congratulations to Jimmy Smith. That is now his 800th career reception, and what a play to get it on.
This team winning right now, it helps bring so much attention to our franchise, what we did back in the day, like we were talking about, these Hall of Fame conversations. But when we're winning, we see the conversations pick up. So we have noticed that. So obviously, I'm pulling for my team to get to this Super Bowl.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
Clearly that was from happier times, but we are pulling for this team to get to the Super Bowl, no matter how unlikely it appears at the moment. Good morning, everybody. This is Jaguars Today. I'm Mike Dempsey. Good morning, Tony Smith.
Good morning.
How are you?
Doing well.
I'm not as much, at least mentally with the whole Jaguar thing.
Sure.
I told the guys this is one of the rare occasions I'd like to be talking baseball for the next 2 hours. But we don't get to do that, so we will muddle through and try to find solutions to the problems that we have. Good morning, Dylan Denmark.
Good morning, Michael.
How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
Wednesday.
You figured you'd go with a different open just to mix things up, go to a happier time, Jimmy Smith highlights, and then Jimmy talking about the success on field of this team, I believe was from a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I kind of forgot when he said, this team winning right now, and then we're not winning right now.
We're prisoners of the moment. That's where we are.
Yeah.
We're stuck in the moment. Although Champ Bailey recently made some comments that Jimmy Smith was one of the 3 most difficult covers in his Hall of Fame.
Along with the other 2 Hall of Famers he covered.
T.O. and Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
Yes. He had to have covered some other Hall of Famers in that time. But yeah, which always...
I'm sure he covered Andre at some point.
Oh, yeah. And probably several others we're not thinking about right off the top of our head. But
And Megatron, yeah.
Probably
overlapped a little
Chris
bit.
Carter.
Yeah.
there's some different guys in there.
But still, he's got Jimmy ahead of them on that list.
It just, again, Quentin Portis was a really good back. Like, he was like a 1,500-yard back a bunch of times. He was really, really good. But every time Champ Bailey's name comes up, I know Tony and I think the same way. Like, how did a 9 or 10-time Pro Bowl Hall of Fame cornerback
Different time in the league, man.
get packaged with a second-round pick to acquire a running back? And then Dylan's like, they'll just let Saquon Barkley walk up there. Well, that's because he can't catch the ball on 3rd down.
That's true.
Giants fans know, right? Giants fans, that's what they've had in the last few years.
They celebrated when Saquon walked. They were like, get rid of this guy.
They celebrated when Evan Ingram left,
did.
right? We got a bunch of guys who can't catch passes, or I don't think they celebrated as much when Saquon left.
Like, we know the position that the Giants fans are in right now. The team stinks, has stunk for a lot longer than it's been good in the past decade. So small victories, like a guy that drops the ball, goes somewhere else, their problem now. Hooray! Like, that's pretty much the position that the team on the field has left the fan base in for the past 7 or 8 years.
The Jags are in a position, Tony, where they're kind of pot committed to a particular direction, not necessarily with the coaching staff or even the front office, but the front office has made the investment in Trevor Lawrence and Josh Hines-Allen and Tyson Campbell and others that we know who the core players need to be for this team, which is a bummer that Tyson Campbell's on IR and not able to play for the next month-ish around that point in time. But, and we knew it could be a problem, and maybe it turns around to some degree as the season goes on, because it is a little strange. I'm talking about the offensive line now. We knew, that was the question. Did they do enough? I do think, even for the people who thought they didn't do enough, they expected the issue to be the interior of the offensive line and not the tackle position.
Yeah.
I mean, you weren't going to replace Anton Harrison. Nobody was calling for that. Anton Harrison has been statistically maybe your worst offensive lineman through 2 games so far.
It's been a really weird start to the year where the 2 areas I think we all talked about them maybe being the strongest on the entire team, offensive tackle and defensive interior, have been 2 of the biggest letdowns of the season through 2 weeks. They're not getting what they need to get out of the tackles. They're not getting what they need to get out of the interior of their defensive line, and it's shown up in big spots in these games when those spots are the ones that are letting them down. It was the 2 spots that have felt they at least they got depth, but it doesn't look like they have any guys right at those spots. Anton being what he's been through the first 2 weeks might be the biggest stunner of everything to me that's happened
on the
for
whole
the first
team.
2. Yeah. For the entire roster, that's the one that's like, what is happening? Because he was a good player for him last year, and he's coming up really small in big moments for the football team to this point. It's as stunning as anything else that's happened with the team.
Well, I'm sure you've seen it, too. I know you've seen it, and others may have as well. Daniel Griffiths posting some numbers in pass block efficiency from Pro Football Focus. This is pass block efficiency, right? So everyone's grade seems to fall in the 90s because you're not giving up a sack, like every 10 snaps, right? So you're not, or even a quarterback hit, but over the cumulative time in the game, if the other team is throwing it 40 times and you're allowing like 3 pressures or 3 quarterback hits or whatever, your grade may be in the 90s, but it's not good compared to your peers. Just in pass blocking alone, Mitch Morse has been in the top third of centers in the league. He's been good, right? And he was more known as a run blocker. I'm not saying this is just looking at pass blocking. Ezra Cleveland, 32nd out of 69 qualifying guards. So right about in the middle, maybe just a smidge over the middle. He's been an average player. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't get by without an average player or 2, but you need to have a couple of standouts around those guys. Brandon Sheriff, according to pass block metrics, has been more of a standout. 18th out of 69 qualifying guards. That's the good news. Cam Robinson is 56th out of 71 qualifying tackles. Anton Harrison is 66th. I mean,
he's a bottom
Tony,
6
there are
tackle in the league.
64 starting tackles in the
Right.
league. Now, I understand that there's injuries and some guys are playing, multiple guys are playing for certain teams due to injury early in the season. But 66, he's basically the worst offensive tackle in the league. I mean, he's in the conversation for the worst offensive tackle in the league, at least in pass block metrics. And he's healthy. By all accounts, he had an outstanding offseason in terms of how he looked, like in matchups in training camp, winning his share of one-on-ones, like against the likes of Josh Hines-Allen and others, which is the bar. I mean, Josh Hines-Allen's a 17.5 sack guy. Should be a pretty good test of what you're going to bring to the table in year 2. It's a little bit inexplicable. Maybe it's just a small sample size, and this
any
we'll look
mistakes
back
are going
and
to
go,
be
right, and we'll just say, hey, Anton got off to a slow start, but he turned into the guy we expected him to, but he's not that at the moment.
No, and look, last year we knew he was coming into the season with that shoulder injury. He played through it and played well, right? Like the shoulder injury never got in the way of him being an effective player for the team at right tackle throughout the entire season. I know he had something that was going on in camp with him, and it kept him out for a little while, but he's back now. Last year it didn't affect him. I don't know why it would affect him more this year. I hope it is just a small sample size and he's not been good through the first 2 weeks and he's going to pick it up from here, because that is not reflective of the opinion that virtually everyone holds of Anton Harrison. We've talked to Jeff Lageman, who talked about going into week 1 down in Miami and talking to some of the guys on the Miami side that were getting ready to do the game, broadcasting, that kind of thing, and they were asking about what to look for. And they asked about Anton. He's like, oh, that's their best offensive lineman. Right? Well, Can that guy show back up,
Play
please?
like it, right?
Like, I certainly think he has that in him. It just hadn't shown up in 2020.
It was just one of those positions where you're like, all right, he's going to get better.
They're fine there.
He's good, and he's only going to get better, and he's going to be a stud, and he'll be one of the best young tackles in the league by the end of the year, and we'll flip him over to the left side next year, and he'll be one of the best left tackles in the National Football League. Now, it's not like you're moving off to Anton Harrison. It's just he has to play better. You don't have better options. You're not sitting in for Cole Van Lanen. Or at least I don't think there's any kind of even consideration of that.
And we haven't said the name yet as we're discussing all the offensive line stuff, but we certainly talked enough about during the offseason them keeping Rauscher, right, as the offensive line coach from the perspective of I thought he did a really good job in 2022. I thought last year they had disasters all over the place, and maybe some of that gets fixed when they bring in Morse and correct some of these things. What's been corrected? Seriously, along the offensive line, we talked about, I don't know what to think of Rauscher exactly after his first 2 years of as the offensive line coach, because I thought he was good. Then everything was bad last year, so it kind of blinds you to what is he actually. Well, the early results in 2024 are, what is going on the offensive line? Because who's gotten better, right? They bring in a guy like Morse.
Morse has been an upgrade.
Right.
But he wasn't here.
He wasn't here.
Right.
Right. Like the players that he's actually had his hands on, who's gotten better?
I would say Sheriff is surprisingly good in pass pro this year. I don't think he's been much in the run game.
Sure.
And so from that aspect of it, but
it's 2 weeks, so it's not time to say this is who they are. They'll never get better than this.
Good
it's
or bad,
2 weeks.
for that
right,
matter.
Absolutely. But the 2 weeks have been, for all the people that spent the entire offseason saying the offensive line stinks, it's what's going to get in the way of them doing anything this year. Well, through 2 weeks.
So far.
Correct.
Which is why it's driving this poll today to the direction it's going. Today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day. Which of these is the most to blame? Understanding it's not generally just one thing that causes your issues. But we try to give you options today, which is the most to blame for the Jacksonville Jaguars offensive woes. I should have put an apostrophe after the S in Jaguars right there. Darn it. We'll redo the poll. Now, we got over 200 votes on this so far. Poor O-line play dominating the conversation. Play calling is a distant second, but it's a clear second. So what do you think's been the problem with the Jags offense looking so dysfunctional? Is it more on the play calling? Is it more on the offensive line? Or is it Trevor Lawrence? Does he need to do more? When you're paying that guy, whether it's, look, yes, the offensive line's leaky. Yes, the play calling's not perfect. Do you have to overcome that when you are the franchise guy being paid among the top players in the National Football League? Or, and this is very specific to a couple of plays, but we figured we'd throw it in as an option, running back fumbles and penalties. Right? I mean, really, if you look at it, if ETN doesn't have the ball punched out at the goal line, and if Dearness Johnson doesn't have the illegal shift penalty, the Jags may be 2-0.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean the offense really is that much better, though.
No.
But cosmetically, you'd have a few more points.
But it's an option where if we had worded the question differently, right, which of these is the most to blame for the Jags' offensive woes? If we had worded it something like, which is the most to blame for the Jaguars being 0-2 on offense, I think I probably would vote running back fumbles and penalties as the one that I would vote for being the most culpable for them being 0-2 to this point. But I don't think that's the biggest reason for the woes they're having on offense.
Right. I mean, look, despite the poor O-line play, despite what you think about the play calling, despite how Trevor Lawrence has had his moments, good and bad, they were in position to win both games.
Absolutely.
And were it not for a couple of those miscues. So, yeah, maybe we would have got, but that's getting less than 1%. And I get it, right? That's not been what's held back the offense as a whole. But we like to have four options in the poll. So that's what we're going with. If you want to vote in that, you can hop on the X platform at MD_1010XL. Don't forget at 1010XL Fat Tony and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
And you can get on the program today on the Garber Automotive phone lines at 641-1010. The same number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hop in the YouTube virtual studio and get in the chat there. And let's talk Jaguar football and its many woes right now and try to come up with some solutions. I don't know if there are any to this offensive line play other than guys just executing their assignments a little bit better. You're kind of sunk with what you have on the roster right now. And you felt, of all the positions on the team, that offensive tackle might have been your best, deepest, or one of the best, deepest positions. Certainly deepest. It was in the conversation. It may be deep, but
maybe time to test that depth.
Well, it may be
at that left tackle spot. I don't know. I don't have any sense that that's how they feel about it, anywhere close to that at this point. But giving Walker Little a shot at left tackle at some point doesn't seem impossible for the team.
I don't know if it would change the outcome, but then again, sometimes you try it and you're not getting the results you want right now, and maybe they look at it and say, "Hey, Cam's not the problem. It's one or two plays here and there," and you got to love it's always correctable kind of stuff that comes along with that. So if you want to get on and be a part of the conversation, we will certainly welcome you to do that. John Oeser will join us coming up in hour number 2, so take advantage of some open phone line time as we kick things off. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Lickety Split. In North Florida, it gets hot. You know that, right, man? What a terrible time for your AC to go out when it's hot outside. You need help now, like right now, like Lickety Split. Get same-day emergency service for your AC. They also handle plumbing and electrical. I bet you've seen their trucks all over town. They got dozens of certified technicians with a huge fleet of techs and trucks, locally, family-owned, and operated. For quality care, call the hair. 4.8 on Google reviews. Check them out online at licketysplitfl.com.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Every special teams player waits for his number to be called.
We got this.
After the game, we call the Crown Royal Special Teams Player of the Game.
Game ball, baby.
On 1010XL.
Good job, team.
Did you know you can charge the all-new Honda Electric Prologue in the same receptacle as your phone? You don't need these special charging stations at your home. Simply plug in your Honda or your phone. See your local Honda dealer now. We're electrified.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet, Florida's only legal sportsbook app, and they're so stoked for the kickoff of the season. You know why? Because never before in September have you been able to legally bet on football. This year, for the first time ever, people in Florida can bet on ball. College kicks off this weekend with a big bunch of games, and all you have to do to get started is download the Hard Rock Bet app or go online at hardrock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
You know when you said come over for the fight? We thought you meant your house.
You guys want another round of Bud Lights?
Service is better here. And so is the beer.
Bud Light is back as the official beer sponsor of UFC. Enjoy responsibly. 2024 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hurricane season on the First Coast can leave you in the dark, so why not get a head start on storm season with a home generator system from American Electrical? They've sold and installed more generators in Jacksonville than any other company around, with scores of whole home generator installations throughout North Florida. That's right, American Electrical has been installing and repairing thousands of generators for over a decade in Duval. Keep your loved ones and property protected. Log on to american-electrical.com and see how they can help you.
Like to learn how to fly an airplane? Well, you're not alone. High Flying Jacko here, inviting you to listen Sunday morning. We'll start your aviation career with a 60-minute ride on the airwaves of 1010XL. The High Flying Show, Sunday at 9 on 1010XL.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
Hello, I'm Malcolm Anthony. I've been practicing criminal defense law for over 40 years. It's what I love to do, what I do well. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me, Malcolm Anthony, at 2854-LAW. 888-285-4LAW for Malcolm Anthony.
Mortgage rates have plummeted, and Loan Pronto clients are locking in the lowest rates we've seen in years. Hey, it's Roger Moore, founder and CEO of Loan Pronto. It's happening. We are finally locking APRs in the fives, something we haven't seen for a long time. If that sky-high rate is killing you or you need to get cash out of your home equity, now is the time to take action. Or listen, even if you want to keep that first mortgage rate intact, you can take advantage of lower rates with our Equity Express line of credit. We're seeing homeowners take 50, 75, 200 grand or more out of their equity and wiping out that high-interest debt with an average savings of $850 per month. Bottom line, your home value is way up and mortgage rates have come way down, making this a great time to act. Call today for a 30-second rate quote. Do it now, and you can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Hidden Hills Golf Club invites you to come out and experience one of the most beautiful and unique golf courses in North Florida. Affordable golf, friendly service, and great times in the Hills Grill after play. Book your tee time, hiddenhillsgc.com.
Hey folks, Mike Dempsey here. You've heard me talking about Pella Windows and Doors, and with great ratings and expert reviews, you know they're high quality and energy efficient products. So what's your next step? How about scheduling a free consultation or just stop by the Pella showroom right there on Phillips Highway next to Tesla? Pella's professional consultants will guide you through your entire project from start to finish. From simple projects to complex renovations, their team has the experience needed to make your project a success. And that's the quality and service you can expect from Pella Windows and Doors.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
So we're in the break, and Dylan turns to the panel, that'd be me and Tony. He goes, what do you guys know about this guy, Glenn Frey? Excuse me? Whom are we speaking of? Glenn Frey? What do you know about Glenn Frey? I think the question would be. How did you decide to play some Glenn Frey music this morning, Dylan?
So we have this thing in our system that has a bunch of old school music. And it's just
It just pops up.
It's alphabetical, and I usually skip a lot of the stuff I don't know, and I didn't know this stuff, and I just send to the panel, hey, what do you know about this guy?
Yeah, he used to be in a band. You probably never heard of him, though.
Oh, okay.
You probably never heard of him.
Yeah, so
he had a solo career.
I learned something today.
Yes. Proud member, former member, obviously, I believe the late Glenn Frey right now.
I have breaking news, by the way, for tomorrow.
What do you got?
Mike DeRocco's plan is to still come in and do the show.
And blow off Dougie?
I guess so.
Sounds like it, yeah.
Right.
So we get fed. That's
the key.
Yeah.
Drop off breakfast if you're going to go do the Doug press conference.
It's on the way. Bring it in.
At least
I
bring
like
the
that
breakfast.
he has his priorities in order.
I would hope so, right? You don't want to miss a Thursday Jaguars Today. It's a fun show. All right, let's get out to the phone line. So what's on your mind? Doesn't have to be specific to today's question today, talking about the offensive woes. You know where the Jags stand at this point in time. So get it off your chest or ask a question or pose a solution. That would be helpful if we had some solutions posed at 641-1010. On the Garber Auto Mall phone lines, we'll start with Kenneth on the south side kicking things off. Kenneth, good morning.
Hey, how you doing, bud?
What's up, man?
Man, wanted to call in Monday. Wanted to call in Tuesday. I'm calling in Tuesday, but I was so mad. But, man, I've just had to think about it for a while. And my big thing about Jacksonville is, you know, I heard him say that this was the best team that they had ever seen. And I was like, my eyes must be deceiving me, because it's like you forgot about the Jacksonville team that we had that was really good, that probably should have went to a Super Bowl. But that's neither here nor there. Doug Peterson and this play calling is a massive issue because you brought him in because he's a quarterback groomer. You brought him in because he could probably make a high-power offense. Well, I ain't seen none of those things. I ain't seen none of them. And at least not on a consistent basis to look at it and make it seem like you should keep your job. Or what I haven't seen is that everybody sees it. This offensive line is terrible. But we decide that, oh, you know what? We're not gonna bring anybody in. You know, we're gonna draft a guy in the 4th round, but we're not gonna even play him. We're not gonna even see what he got. You know, it's just the strangest thing. And I was always told that if you don't work in the front office, if you haven't done any coaching, you really can't. You can comment, but you don't know what it's like. And this is at the highest level. But I know that my eyes are pretty good, and I can see this, and it just makes me look at it and be like, how can you guys not see that this team needed help and you probably need a new coach? Because you can't blame – I'm not going to blame any of this on Trevor. Trevor, when he got paid the money, he's supposed to he's taking the responsibility of what's going wrong with this team. But the offense, I just can't see. I just don't see the point of it. Like, it's.
All right, I think, Kenneth, I appreciate it. I think we're going in circles at this point a little bit.
The point is to frustrate Kenneth. I doubt it.
Right. Look.
Yeah.
First of all,
we get the frustration. We hear it from fans all the time. We know.
But again, if you looked at this line and you said, what are you most concerned with coming into the season? I think you would have said, well, does Brandon Sheriff have another decent year left in him? Mm-hmm. Right? You could look at Mitch Morse. Is he too old? Mm-hmm. Is Ezra Cleveland good enough at the guard position?
I think you got affirmative answers to this point in all three of those.
And what are those affirmative answers?
The affirmative answer is Brandon Sheriff done? No. He's been pretty good.
He's been okay. He's been better in pass pro than he's been in run blocking.
Right. But okay enough that he's not the problem.
Mitch Morse has been an upgrade.
He's been an upgrade. Ezra's been okay. You know, at left guard, he's not some excelling player. The problem is the tackles.
Which is what no one thought the problem was relative to the rest of the offensive line coming in.
Absolutely.
And I'm not excusing Doug Peterson. He has his is the ultimate responsibility for how this team performs. But in terms of putting the team together, a lot of that falls on Trent Baalke.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't think anybody was out here clamping. Now, look, I wanted them to go offensive line in the first round, but I don't think what they did was a bad move.
No.
You know,
but the guy they drafted in the second round, they didn't even have him active this week. So if you want to have the discussion start in the second round, I don't want to get rid of how excited I am about Brian Thomas Jr., what I think he can be for this offense
100%.
and franchise going into the future. But they drafted Mason, and he's not even active week 2, and that's a team decision to not have him active week 2. You're telling me they couldn't have found an offensive lineman that could have potentially helped them there? In the top end of the second round?
It's only 1 week. I'm not giving up on Mason Smith either, right? But to expect that just because you drafted an offensive lineman in the 4th round and you're not even giving him a shot, you're 2 weeks in. Javon Foster's not ready to take over. They didn't draft him to come in and play this year. To even play this year.
Yeah.
And in some people's minds, they drafted him to be a future swing tackle, a guy that can hold down either side of the line. So could they have done more on the offensive line? I wanted them to do more on the offensive line. They didn't. You have a finite amount of resources. I think if you look at it and you really look at who's playing okay and who's playing miserably, it's the opposite of what people anticipated.
Yes.
You know, did we anticipate, hey, maybe we need to go get a right tackle? Because that's been the biggest problem on your O-line so far, I believe, in my opinion.
Oh, that was the one spot that everyone was like, that's definitely set.
Right. Look, again, Doug Peterson deserves blame in this. So does Trent Baalke. So does Trevor Lawrence. To say that Trevor Lawrence doesn't have any role in this.
Come on.
I mean, I don't care if he's taking responsibility or not. He didn't play. I thought he played well in the first week. Yeah. And he was limited by the play calling in the second half. I didn't think he played well this week. I thought he missed throws and he held the ball too long at times. And, yeah, there are times when the offensive line lets guys pressure you too quickly and you just got to eat it and you got to take the sack. And I think that was more of what happened on the safety. But the one in the middle of the field where they're trying to take a deep shot, he's got to get rid of that football, and he can't take that play. So I do think there's plenty to go around, but I'm not, critiquing you for being upset with Doug Peterson, but I don't think it was Doug Peterson just said, hey, I don't want to fix this offensive line. And I think that falls as much on Trent Baalke. And I understand the gambles they made, the bets they made. Let's put it that way. Ezra Cleveland, they felt, was a young guy who was hurt last year. We asked him to play out of position. He got injured. We like what we see for the style of offensive line we want to play. And they got him for a deal that was less than half of what the top guards were going for on the market. So it wasn't like they broke the bank to get him. Maybe they should have broken the bank to go get one of these $20 million a year guys. I don't know, though, Tony. Who's it, Robert Hunt, who left Miami to go to Carolina?
Yeah.
Do you think Carolina's playing well in any aspect of their team right now? They're paying that guy $20 million bucks. So, again, Ken, I'm not upset that you're upset.
No.
I just don't think it's all on Doug Peterson when it comes to the offensive line play. Ultimately, responsibility falls on the head coach, and he is the one, because you're not going to fire your $275 million quarterback. You're not going to fire your edge rusher, who I thought played well this week. I'm just saying, you can't turn over the personnel on the roster like you can the coaching staff if things don't go the way you expect them to. Let's move along here. Kenneth, appreciate the call. Austin also on the south side, next up on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Austin. Austin, you there? All right, I don't know.
There goes Austin.
We might have lost Austin. Yeah. I did get this piece of good news, though. Not totally functional yet. This is according to Cristiano.
Oh.
But Twitter looks like it's kind of back down here, meaning Brazil. I got a DM. I hope that didn't cost you $10,000, Cristiano, because I'm not paying for that one. But I will have D-Rock subsidize your breakfast if you can make it up here for tomorrow. All right, we'll take a timeout. If you're on the line, be patient. We'll take you in the order that you came in at 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. So we'll take those calls right out of the break. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, John Oeser on the way at the top of the hour. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy. You probably don't play in a contest every week where if you lose, you have to buy breakfast. But if you did, Dandy's got some amazing options for you. Inexpensive, absolutely, but still made with the highest quality ingredients, delivered fresh all around the First Coast. You want it hot, you want it cold. Dandy's got something for everybody out there, really for any time of day. But if you want to start your day off right with breakfast, they've got the soft flaky croissants, they've got the French toast and the buttermilk biscuits and the tasty maple waffles and the sizzling country sausage and the black forest ham and the thick sliced bacon and the peppered fried eggs and the creamy Wisconsin cheddar cheese and so many other items, so many different combinations that you can imagine. Just head to Gate, a Gate station near you. Go in, enjoy that AC, head to the Fresh Case, and be amazed at the variety that Dandy offers up. I just ran through a litany of breakfast items. They've got stuff for all day long, subs, sandwiches, you name it. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Now, the Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game. Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville. Drive to the game in luxury with Randy Marion Cadillac of Jacksonville.
Although Jacksonville found themselves on the wrong end of the scoreboard going into the second half, they would put together a sequence that would get them right back in the contest. Thanks to a 72-yard drive capped off by a Travis Etienne 4-yard score, Duval would cut the deficit to 6 with 1:11 left in the third. The three-play drive is your Randy Marion Cadillac Drive of the Game.
Hey, John, my dad, Randy Marion's gone absolute Cadillac crazy. You won't believe our Escalade lineup.
Well, how crazy we talking, Jennifer?
Buckle up, folks. We've got over 35 Cadillac Escalades.
35 Escalades? That's luxury overload.
I'm talking fully loaded models, cutting-edge tech, and that signature Cadillac style.
And the deals are even more luxurious. $4,000 Escalade loyalty rebate.
Plus 5% off MSRP on retired courtesy vehicles. Head to Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
Plus tax tag title $899 admin fee and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Join Jim Furyk and other legends of the PGA Tour for the 4th annual Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K, October 4th through 6th at Timuquana Country Club. Get your tickets now starting at just $25 for grounds passes. Public parking is free, and our military get complimentary tournament access courtesy of ViStar Credit Union. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster, October 4th through 6th at Timuquana Country Club. The 4th annual Constellation Furyk and Friends, presented by Circle K.
If you suffer from constant burning, tingling, or numbness in your hands or feet, it could be a serious condition called neuropathy. I'm Dr. Nathan Riddle, DC with Riddle Wellness in Ponte Vedra. Neuropathy is treatable, and we have seen great results by using state-of-the-art, non-invasive therapies to target damaged nerves, reduce symptoms, and improve nerve function. Call 904-395-5598 to schedule your free consultation today and learn how you can live pain-free. Call 904-395-5598.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, so here's a reminder to get screened. Ackerman Cancer Center offers on-site imaging, including total body MRI. Early detection is the key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here, telling you once again about Chad and Sandy Newman. Mortgage rates are down, creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. They can handle that. You see, Chad and Sandy can take every problem you think you have and replace it with a promise. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. The success stories are rolling in. Mike and Lisa in McCormick. We inherited a family home that came with equity but also a mortgage. We needed to sell fast to avoid extra expenses on a second mortgage. We heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Everything they say on the radio is true. The home sold in 3 days for full asking price. Call Chad and Sandy today, 904-414-6200, or go to chadandsandy.com. That's Chad, ANDSANDY.com.
Good teachers and coaches get the most out of their scholar athletes. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
Wednesdays on The Franchi Show.
Are you ready to upgrade your home? Experience the winning combination of style and performance with Renewal by Andersen energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Buy one, get one 40% off replacement windows and doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 18 months. This offer expires September 30th and restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, a dust bunny breeder from Jacksonville, Florida, meets Steve Johnson. Welcome to the show, Steve.
It's great to be here, Alex.
Yeah, you don't have to answer in the form of a question, Steve.
What is this game show?
See, that's another question.
Are you going to ask me about air conditioners?
Yeah, okay. How about we just send the Bueller guys over and you can annoy them with all your questions? Johnny?
That's right, Steve. Bueller Air and Plumbing can answer all your air conditioning questions, repair options, replacement models, and how to make your AC last longer while saving electricity, making sure you are cool.
Where is the parking lot?
You're killing me, Steve.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Pickett here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
How does Coach Dave Campo see the Jaguars at 0-2?
This team right now, there's something missing. There was something missing at the end of the year last year. I don't know what it is. I'm not in that locker room, but somebody, they have to come together if we're going to be a decent football team.
Okay, so
and by no means should we be panicking.
Right.
Everything that happened in that game can be fixed, in my opinion, with the exception that if it's 3rd and long, we're going to have a problem because we are just not physical enough on good pass rushes that can crank it up and go get it.
Find the Campo and Joe podcast on the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel. I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Brian in the YouTube chat, Tony asks, any update on Evan Ingram? No, nothing yet because Doug Peterson won't speak until tomorrow. But my guess, hamstring injury, not going to play this week. That's my guess. I don't know that. You get an extra day. So we'll see. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he'll be available, and I hope Doug said it was just more of a precautionary thing, but we'll find more out about that tomorrow for sure. Also, this one on Twitter, I heard someone say Doug Peterson's a lifelong backup, so his system and play calling is geared towards a backup like a Nick Foles. Trevor Lawrence is a gunslinger. This isn't his style of play. It kind of makes sense. Not to me. I mean, if you watch Nick Foles, when they won the Super Bowl, Nick Foles was slinging the ball all over the damn. I don't know what play calling is geared to a backup means, unless you're talking about a guy like Malik Willis, who clearly is not an NFL caliber drop-back quarterback at this point. So the Green Bay Packers put in a run-heavy game plan for him.
Has there been any NFL starting, like a guy who played as a starter for the majority or all of his career that became an NFL head coach out of Jim Harbaugh? I can't think of anyone else.
A quarterback who became like a
starting quarterback in the NFL who eventually became an NFL head coach.
Probably, and I'm not off the top
I
of my
imagine maybe
head.
like early on in the league that kind of thing happened from time to time, but
well, part of it is they make so much money, even relative to back then, they would make a lot of money relative, I'm imagining,
quarterbacks
to the
that become
staff.
coaches are generally going to be the guys who were backups, right? Like that's the way they continue their career is they do that. Like the starting quarterbacks, we can see it. They go on TV.
Sure. And because they're stars.
Everyone knows who they are. It's not like Doug Peterson had a whole lot of house cred, to be the TV guy when he became an NFL head coach. He became an NFL head coach because he wanted to stay around the game, and he is. He's around the game.
I don't understand. Does this mean if you're gearing your play calling towards a backup, does that mean you're dinking and dunking? I don't know what else that would mean exactly. Nick Foles threw for over 700 yards, 6 touchdowns with no picks in the NFC title game and the Super Bowl combined.
They're frustrated with Doug. They're allowed to be frustrated with Doug, but that's a weird explanation for why you're frustrated with Doug.
Right.
By the way, you're reaching for
he
nothing
had
there.
Carson Wentz playing like an MVP that year, and he was certainly not a backup. I mean, you're a backup until you're not,
Yeah. Oh,
anyway.
Looking it up, starting quarterbacks that become head coaches in the NFL, and it is an old list. There are 5 Hall of Fame quarterbacks that were head coaches at some point in their professional career. Sammy Baugh.
Okay, was Lynn Dawson everyone?
Bob Waterfield.
Okay.
Norm Van Brocklin. Otto Graham. Bart Starr.
Yeah, that's way
Way
back.
You got to go way back to get to those kind of guys getting that shot.
All right, let's jump in. We got stacked phone lines, so let's let you get it off your chest on this Wednesday here on Jaguars Today. We'll go to Eric next up on the show. Hello, Eric. How are you?
Hey, how y'all fellas doing today?
Okay, man. What's on your mind?
Well, to answer the question that you asked about a solution, I don't know if it's that easy to have a solution. Because I'm saying to myself, if I'm Shard right now, I'm thinking this wasn't originally the plans to begin with. See, we have to go back and remember that it wasn't supposed to be Balky and Peters. It was supposed to have been Balky and Urban Meyer. And when the situation happened with Urban Meyer where he had to be let go, I never got the impression that Peterson was Balky's first pick or that Balky was Peterson's first pick. So even though eventually Mr. Peterson came, I'm not sure that the two regimes are able to coincide together. And right now what we're seeing is basically, you know how when you fix something right quick, let's say you have a pipe in the house and you fix it and you put some thread tape on it right quick and you twist it back and it's no longer leaking, but you look up in a year or a year and a half later, that leak comes right back and you realize that you never really fixed the problem. You just put a Band-Aid over it. And at some point, it looked like everything was running good, but eventually the underlying problem was going to reveal itself again.
Now, what is the underlying problem to you, Eric?
I think the underlying problem is they probably have two different approaches to how they would run organizations. That's the biggest underlying problem, I think.
All right.
And I believe.
Go ahead. Finish your thought. We got to move along, but finish your thought. Go ahead.
And I believe ultimately, when it comes to the results of each, that from the general manager standpoint, Mr. Balky has not been able to draft what I would call true generational players. A generational player to me is a player who's able to overcome certain situations and their talent still stands.
All right, Eric, we got to move along. I don't quite know where this is going, but would any GM have drafted Trevor Lawrence as the number one pick? I mean, so are we going to – if you don't think Trevor's the guy who can overcome – I don't know if that's who he's talking about. Mm-hmm. Are we happy with Brian Thomas Jr.? I thought Balky had a good offseason. I did. Too. I thought the draft was not done exactly the way I would have done it, but I thought he hit a lot of the needs. You can't hit everything. You can't fix everything. I thought they had a good free agency in the offseason. I mean, tell me the guy that they signed that you thought was a bad signing, right? I mean, Darby's a starter. Armstead's supposed to be an impact player for this team. I don't think anybody was as upset about that. Gabe Davis has looked fine in the opportunities that he's gotten. I thought he did a pretty good job this offseason. To me, there can be organizational, philosophical rifts, right? There's no question about it. But once you've got the raw material to work with, Doug Peterson doesn't need to hang out and spend time with Trent Baalke every day and sing Kumbaya, right? No. Here's your players. Coach them better. It doesn't matter what Trent Baalke's philosophy is, unless he's drafting players that are counter to your philosophy. But what the Jags tell us every time is that this is a collaborative effort. These guys work well together. I don't know. I suspect it's never as rosy as they try to make it out to be, but I don't know, like, if Baalke and Peterson were going out to dinner and chumming it up every day, I don't know if that makes it any better for the results on the field for this football team.
No, and I think I'm not surprised that whatever level of frustration the fans were carrying through the offseason, despite, look, we talked about it as it was going on. I felt good about what Trent did in the offseason. I'm excited about Brian Thomas Jr., as we talked about a moment ago. Sure. I wouldn't want to fix that. I think that's the right player, right pick for the franchise. Do I wish they had done more on the offensive line? Sure. And we talked about that at the time too. But I don't think an offensive lineman helps them more long-term than Brian Thomas Jr. does in my mind. They could have done other things to address the offensive line than they did. And we talked about that when they made all the decisions that they made. I understand the frustrations of everyone boiling over with the way the season has started at 0-2, and they're ready to make decisions about long-term things with the franchise going into week 3 of the season. Express it. That's why we're here, is to give people some way to express some of these opinions because they need to get it off their chest. Fine. I'm willing to hear everyone's opinion on all this stuff. I think we're going too far. Talking about it to the degree we're talking. When it's time to talk about those things, I promise you guys, we're going to talk about it more than you can stand. When we get to that point in this season where it's clear there's nowhere to go, right? There is no up in the season. I'm not at that point in 2024 yet. Doesn't mean I'm not frustrated with the results they've gotten through the first 2 weeks and don't acknowledge that they could wind up in that spot based on what we've seen. They certainly could.
All right, back to the lines we go. Austin on the south side, you're next up. Go ahead, man.
What's up, buddy? How are you?
What's
My
up?
bad, we got lost earlier. Out of everyone's name I've heard since the second loss we had on Sunday, the one name I've not heard is Ryan Nielsen. Can you agree with that?
We haven't talked about it much, no.
Okay, because the defense looks, in my opinion, if y'all agree with me, good. I mean, we can't stop an offense. We can't stop anybody so much because we're always on the field. So obviously Ryan Nielsen's out of it. Well, in my opinion, I think Doug Peterson hired Ryan Nielsen so that he didn't have to coddle him like he did Caldwell. So why can't Doug just say, press? Obviously this isn't working. Let me take over, at least see how we do something. I mean, the offense looks anemic. We can't. The defense is doing the best they can.
Yeah, look, I get he could if he wants to. Yeah. It's his prerogative. As long as he's the head coach, as Shad Khan said, he's got agency. He can decide who's calling the plays, who's doing what. By the way, the defense has been the defense is getting a complete pass because they've been so much better than the offense, right? Yeah. The offense has been that abysmal, but while the point totals have been really good for what the defense has allowed, and that's the most important thing they can do. They let Cleveland possess the ball and go up and down the field at their own pace in the first half and dominated to the point that there were only really 6 possessions in the entire first half. They let them go on a 16-play, 9-minute scoring drive to open up the football game once the Jags gave them the football.
Yeah, I think it's a little unfair, especially, look, I started the conversation with Logs yesterday about I am as frustrated and disappointed in the Jags' lack of an ability to stop the run against the Cleveland Browns this week as I was anything that happened in that game. That opening drive and what they allowed the Browns to do throughout the entirety of the game, basically running the football.
With basically their third-string running back. Right. Let's not forget, Nick Chubb is on injured reserve.
Right.
And Jerome Ford has been the starter for that team.
I expressed all those things, and I didn't mention the name Ryan Nielsen, right, when I was expressing those things. But I talked about it off the jump on this show. The 2 things that I am most surprised that we are frustrated with on the team at this point, offensive tackle, interior defensive line. I thought that's where they were deep. I thought that was where their most depth was going into the season.
And they've been issues.
Well, there's no playmakers there right now. I can't understand why those 2 areas are the level of issue they are. At this point, I was just looking over at turnover numbers. It's not like I didn't know them. At this point, the Jags still haven't forced a turnover on the year, which that needs to change now. You know, you're not going to beat the Buffalo Bills if you don't force a turnover.
The way to do it, you got to get consistent pressure on the quarterback.
Right, like you're just not going to beat the Bills unless you can turn them over. And the Jags have 1 turnover on the year. It's that ETN fumble.
Right.
It's not like they've been giving the ball away for the first 2 weeks of the season. They've had that one bad, but the moment is so big, and it's so hard to get past that. That's why we've been talking about the offense way more than we have the defense, because the issues that we've seen crop up on offense are glaring when they happen. And with defense, it's more like, oh, it would have been nice to stop that play.
But to the point of the call, look, Doug Peterson may not see it the same way we do. He may say, look, play calling's not an issue. We've got guys open. And when he says that, he's saying in part, hey, the quarterback needs to see them, right? He needs to go through his progressions better. That's part of it. Yes, the offensive line has been slipshod at times, but is that, look, it all falls on Doug Peterson ultimately, but I think he feels like if you just execute the block and block the guy who's right there in front of you and give your quarterback that extra half second, we would have these plays. These plays are out there. That's his point of view. Maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. And when you say, why can't he do that? He can, but he seems to have pressed Taylor's back to the end, and it may ultimately be his downfall, or maybe the offense gets going and we'll all be eating crow. I'd love for that to be the case, but it's really, there's nothing we can do to make Doug Peterson change his philosophy or his beliefs on what's causing this team issues right now. Yeah. And he's probably looking at it like, hey, don't fumble the ball at the goal line. Don't get the illegal shift penalty. And we're 2-0 right now. So as bad as it's been, if we're 2-0, you work on those things behind the scenes and try to correct them, and it shows that you can overcome these deficiencies. They haven't done it. And that's ultimately the bottom line. You got to win football games.
No doubt.
Larry in St. Augustine, you're up next on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, Larry.
Hey, guys. Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Just a thought on the offensive side of the house, man. I don't know if this makes sense or not, but I'd like to see them go more, what they call that, up-tempo a little bit more, because when they do that, it seems like it works. Like, it's first and 10, they pick up 4 yards, pick it up real quick, and just pick it up because it seems to me when they go into huddles, they overthink it too much.
Yeah, Larry, we appreciate it. We talked about this yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I would at least give it a try, right? Because it seems like when their back's against the wall, we got to have it. They move the ball somewhat out of a sense of desperation. I don't know what tone. Even late in the game, with 1:27 left, they started to move the ball. They made some plays down the field. Maybe you do need to create that artificial sense of urgency right from the start. Now, the downside is, okay, you go 3 and out faster. Well, at the start of the game, should that matter that much when the defense isn't tired? You know what I mean? Like, and then, defense, by the way, don't let them go on a 9-play drive and keep you on the field for all that time. So I'm with you, Larry. I think some up-tempo. Look, I'm not an offensive coordinator. I'm not smart enough to be an NFL head coach, but like everybody else, sometimes you feel like you're banging your head against the wall doing one thing. Try something different.
And given the way the offenses have started the first 2 weeks, so the 3 and out takes 20 less seconds. Okay. That's essentially how they've started these games, basically. So, yeah, if they want to go up tempo to start the game against Buffalo, fine. I'd be in favor of it.
All right, Larry, thank you for the call. We got to take a time out. We'll come back with more of your observations, particularly on the Garber Automall phone lines at 641-1010. John Oeser will join us. Another hour to go. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Make the best picks and win a pizza party from Salvatore's Pizza at Tapestry Park. Pick the worst. You'll still win some pizza, just not enough for a part. The 1010 Weekly Pick'em Contest is brought to you by MyBookie.
You pick 'em.
At 1010XL.com.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey everyone, it's football season and we wanted to go to the drawing board to make this year's predictions. Let's compare our 2 blonde all-stars. Most touchdowns, best pricing in the market. Most passing yards, gives the most for your trade. Most receptions, free oil changes with every purchase. Super Bowl champion, wow customer service. This looks like a winning season for everyone. Come see Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville where you can score big all season long.
Hey, it's Joe C. My friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can elevate your grilling experience with a durable, high-end grill from great brands like Coyote, DCS, Alfresco, and American Made, and make an outdoor kitchen custom-built to your taste and lifestyle. Visit their local showroom and see all the new displays at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living.
You dream it, we build it. CSS.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
In its final year, we encourage you to help create great futures for young people when you run or walk at Mackenzie's Run, Saturday, November 23rd. Join Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for a 5K and 1-mile fun run through the beautiful stadium course at TPC Sawgrass. Enjoy food, live music, face painting, family fun, and more at our Runners Village. Register at MacKenziesRun.org. Mackenzie's 5K and Fun Run, November 23rd. MacKenziesRun.org.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Hey folks, this is Dave Benyon with my son Ammon here from Zero Res. Ammon, you've been cleaning air ducts for a while now. What are some of the reasons customers might consider getting their air ducts cleaned?
There are many reasons. Many times, people suffer needlessly from poor indoor air quality produced by the conditions in their air system. Construction dust, the presence of bacterial growth, and years' worth of buildup all come together to make your air ducts a pretty gross place. If you suffer from allergies, have recently moved, recently remodeled, or have never had your air ducts cleaned, then now is the best time to call. By calling Zero Res, you'll have the peace of mind of knowing that you called the best of the best. Our state-of-the-art truck mount system and top-of-the-line service representatives simply can't be found anywhere else. Google Zero Res and read thousands of 5-star reviews.
So what kind of deals can I expect?
Just mention that you heard us on the radio, and we'll give you $100 off your air duct cleaning.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty great deal. Remember, folks, Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CEROREC, Zero Res.
Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Need help fixing a plumbing issue? Let our winning team go to work for you. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Hacker here, and I've got something to celebrate. Honestly, I never thought I'd be able to say this. I'm on the countdown to dropping 100 pounds. Yes, sir. 90 pounds already, thanks to Awaken 180 weight loss, and I'm just 3 weeks away from hitting the big 100. The best part? I'm reaching that 100 mark in months, not years. Life-changing and life-saving. No doubt about it. I had pretty much given up on trying, but now I'm going to be here for my son, my wife, my family, and most importantly, for myself. I'm living my life to the fullest, and I didn't know just how easy it was to make happen with Awaken 180. When I hit that 100-pound mark, we're going to celebrate big. I'll keep you updated every week as I get closer, and you can even join in on the celebration. Details to come. In the meantime, pick up the phone and make your own 180. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Ever wondered what heaven smells like? Come explore Crowned Head Cigars on Saturday, September 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. at Tobacco Cove, 3849 Bay Meadows Road, and find out. We've got the Mil Diaz, so smooth it's like a spa day for your taste buds. The Mil Diaz Maduro, rich enough to make a chocolate bar jealous. And Tim Osgener's Aramis, so bold they'll make you rethink your life's choices. As always, there will be great deals, food, and prizes you'll want to brag about. See you at Tobacco Cove, where every puff is a party.
The flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra, maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
Facing a DUI charge, or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by USA Park. Florida linebacker Derek Wingo says the players aren't giving much oxygen to the noise surrounding the job security of the team's head coach.
Anyone in this facility, just kind of block out that outside noise and focus on kind of what's going on, on the field, in the building, and kind of what you're doing behind the scenes.
The Noles' Mike Norvell says his team will have to be sharp facing a tough Cal defense.
A big, long, physical defense, a defense that plays to a standard. Those guys have been very opportunistic when that ball's in the air, creating those interceptions.
Many of the football forecasters didn't expect much of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season, and their quarterback Baker Mayfield appreciates the skeptics.
Think about all the work we put in, but all offseason, the guys we brought in that really helped us out here, the improvements that our young guys made.
That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 11 o'clock, it's 81 degrees. Time and Center brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler, Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Oeser. Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
on 1010XL.
On the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, seems like we could have used Mason Smith in this game. Followed up with, if Mason Smith is inactive again this week for no good reason, Doug should be fired. Well, Doug Peterson would tell you he's got a good reason. Whether you believe it or agree with that reason is up to you. I agree. I would have had Mason Smith out there because we're just talking. And welcome to John Oeser. Good morning, John. How are you?
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Tony.
If you've got a second-round pick who's not playing, that guy who's playing ahead of him better be significantly better than him. And I don't know what Jeremiah Ledbetter or Osezi Atomawa did that was so, like, I get it. If guys aren't practicing well and
Right.
everything, but there better be some clear separation to me. And I haven't noticed those guys as Deontay Foreman continued to run through the defensive line for the Cleveland Browns this week, that I feel like it just stunts your development of your second-round pick a little bit.
Yeah, I guess I'd be surprised if it's a long-term thing. My impression, and this is just from reading what Doug said, was that I would guess it's a one-time thing. Hey, some mistakes we can't have in week one. Wake up and let's go. Sort of message. So we'll see.
Maybe so, but at the same time, and I get it, there's a certain level you got to hold everyone to a certain standard when they go on the field. He's a rookie.
Sure.
Right, who hasn't played a ton of ball, right?
Right.
Because of injuries at LSU. There's going to be a learning curve with him, and I don't know if you can fulfill that learning curve simply in practice all week. That's my opinion anyway. All right, let's get a couple more calls going here, and we'll pick John. Unless you have the answer. Do you have the answer?
I got all the answers.
Okay.
They're in my car, though. I'll get them at the break.
What's the number one answer? What would we fix to solve the Jags' woes?
Next question.
But all right, you're going to go to the car on the break?
I'll get in the car.
You'll have that for us next segment. All right, we'll look forward to that. John is going to solve the issues for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Actually, it's in my wife's car.
Oh, yeah. I see. Maybe get her on the phone. Let's go to Reggie on the north side next up here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Reggie. Reggie, you got to listen to your phone and not your radio, or else you're going to hear us in delay. Let's go to Sean on the south side. Sean, you're on Jaguars Today.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
So a question: if we believe that we're all in this year and we can really compete, for I guess a playoff or Super Bowl, however they're looking at it, why can't we go to one of these teams that's in rebuild mode and maybe offer them a couple of draft picks to get one of their premier offensive linemen, or just anything. Just try to do anything to help improve this line, and I think y'all call it.
I think it's a reasonable question, but I don't think that, this early in the season. First of all, if you got a team that's clearly going nowhere, right? Do they have that caliber of offensive linemen that are
with
expendable?
An offensive lineman, that's often a position where you keep a guy even through a rebuild because offensive linemen are so rare.
When you get that next quarterback in, you want to be able to protect him.
Yeah, so that's all. With a corner, obviously, there are different positions that do get traded in that situation. Offensive linemen do too. I'm not saying it never happens, but it's such a building block and so hard to find that sometimes they get traded. But I think more to your point, it's week two.
Well, and that's a big part of it. But a big part of it also is the Jags have made certain investments, right? They just gave Ezra Cleveland a contract. They're not going to go trade for somebody to replace him right now. They gave Mitch Morse a contract, and he seems to be playing probably the most competent football on the offensive line, so you're not going to replace him. Brandon Sheriff, well, you hope you've got an in-house eventual replacement in Cooper Hodges for him.
I would guess if you're going to move, it would be more in-house Cooper Hodges in, Walker Little in.
Agreed.
Than it would be going out and spending your future equity for guys now until you find out that those options can't work.
Right. I don't know who that guy would be. And these guys are getting more and more expensive. Carolina's going nowhere. Yeah. Right. They signed Robert Hunt. They gave him over $20 million to play guard. He's making what kind of impact is he possibly making on that team? They're inept.
I think Carolina's the only team where they might be open for any of that kind of business anyway, because they were just willing to move on from the young quarterback. But all these other spots where they have a young quarterback, no, they're not going to trade a starting offensive lineman in front of a young guy that they're trying to develop. There might be teams that feel good about depth at a spot that they'd be willing to move on from whoever that backup guy is. But we've talked about this over and over and over. I don't know the depth of all the offensive lines in the league. And when you start looking at the names, you're like, I don't know.
Don't even know who that guy is.
Right, if they're any good or not. They have scouts in the league that are evaluating all this stuff as they go. They might have a list of players inside the building here in Jacksonville of, if we can talk to them about this guy at this price, we'd be willing to explore this kind of, it's the Ezra thing. Right? They were willing to make that kind of move for that kind of player.
Well, like a 6th-round pick.
Right. That's the kind of move, if they're going to make one, it's going to be that. Teams aren't going to trade you their starting offensive tackle 3 weeks into the year. That's just not how the NFL
Nor are
works.
you're certainly not going to move on from Anton Harrison just because he's had a couple of shaky games, right? I mean,
absolutely not.
You're going to go that this guy's got to be a cornerstone. I don't think it's a bad
Jags are more
question.
likely to trade Cam than they are to trade for a player like that.
I would agree.
And I don't think they're doing either.
I don't either because then you're a heartbeat away from I guess Cole Van Lannon maybe being the next man up, but whatever the case. But look, I get the desire to go out there and fortify. But being this early in the season, that's a factor. Teams aren't giving up on their teams. And like you said, Tony, if they do have a young quarterback and they're struggling and maybe this isn't going to be their year and they want more draft capital, they still want the guys who are going to protect their quarterback.
They don't want to create him getting hit 15 more times.
So it's a difficult spot. There are not teams with a great surplus of these guys, and the teams that have the frontline players, I would imagine if we looked at the Pro Bowl rosters from last year of the linemen who made the Pro Bowl, they're all from winning teams. I don't think you're getting too many, guys off a 5-12 squad that
with
are making
a few exceptions, or
occasionally, sure,
or it's an old guy, and then you're trading for Brandon Sheriff again.
Correct.
Yeah.
At that age, I'm not trying to knock him, but
which
clearly
a
he's
veteran
not what
like
he
that
was.
could be an upgrade, but that's not like when I hear that, I'm thinking, invest your future draft capital. If something falls in their lap where they can get a guard in the 5th round for a 5th round pick and they think he can come in and improve. But again, Cooper Hodges needs to turn into that guy. That's the way they look at it. They need to develop him because they need some inexpensive labor coming up because, you've got Ezra just got a contract and Mitch Morse has a contract and Cam will roll off the books, but eventually you're going to want to give Anton Harrison a contract. And who's playing left tackle for you next year? Right. Nobody under contract is playing it at the moment, at least.
It could very conceivably be a draft pick.
It very much could. Let's go to Kim on the south side next here on Jaguars Today. Hello, Kim.
Oh, hello there, fellas. How are you guys doing?
Good. What's up?
I know it's kind of sucky right now, but I'm just looking at the perspective and going back to Mitch Morris's comments back in training camp. He said that by week 3 that the offensive line should be gelling. So I'm going to hold him into that. It's either gel or not. But, I go by life by the definition of doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It's not going to work. That's the definition of insanity. So if I were the Jaguars, I will probably do it at week 3, after week 3, and just try out Walker Little. You got 2 offensive tackles on contract years. Which one are you going to keep, or are you going to let them both go? You kind of need to figure that out.
I got you. Kim, let me jump in because we're running short on time here. The point about, and he was going to make a point about Cooper Hodges, but they may go to Walker Little at some point.
Yeah,
right? But
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all. Go ahead.
But they watch him every single day. Right. And I got to believe they feel like Cam's a better player. Right. Because they keep running him out there. And I'm not opposed to them making that kind of switch at some point. Cam is graded very poorly against the pass. And this continuity thing, when Cam is pulling and a blitzing linebacker runs right past him, what does that have to do with continuity? Just hit the guy who you're responsible for chipping or picking up. There's too many guys running unblocked. On the first play of the season, Anton Harrison turns towards the inside, puts his hands on no one, and Calais Campbell just goes right past him. Is that continuity, or is that just a guy making a mistake? I really don't know the answer to that. But I'm not expecting the offensive line to snap their fingers and play much better in week 3. That would surprise me.
They could if assignments start getting done. but it hasn't happened yet.
No, I mean, based on where they are, right? Like, I understand hey, we're not going to be perfect the first couple weeks. You got to get it together. But they've been a liability, in my opinion, in a lot of moments, a lot of big moments, right? That do I think it's just going to, okay, now we played together for 2 games. Right. That's going to fix itself. I'm skeptical of that. Why don't we take a quick look around the rest of the National Football League?
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Indianapolis has placed defensive tackle DeForest Buckner on IR with an ankle injury, which will keep him out for at least the next 4 games, including their Week 5 matchup here against the Jaguars. Miami has placed quarterback Tua Tagovailoa on IR. Green Bay has placed running back Marshawn Lloyd on IR with an ankle injury. The New York Giants have placed kicker Graham Gano on injured reserve. Kansas City has signed running back Kareem Hunt to their practice squad. Cincinnati has signed defensive lineman Lawrence Guy after a workout yesterday as well. The Pittsburgh Steelers are expected to start quarterback Justin Fields again this week after saying yesterday that Russell Wilson not expected to be a full participant at practice today.
All right, thank you, Tony. John, let me just ask you a quick question that Dylan posed to us earlier. What do you know about Glenn Frey? Just seeing that. You didn't know much either, huh?
I didn't.
Yeah. I think he was in a popular band at one point, but
I knew that Don Henley guy.
Yeah, that guy.
The Falcons or something like that. What was the name?
Something like that. Let's go to Reggie on the north side next up. I think is next up anyway. Reggie, go ahead.
All right, good morning. I think what's going wrong with the Jaguars is it's about accountability, and I think Shad Khan needs to address the team to let him know that he was dead serious about Jacksonville winning some games. Light a fire under this team. We need accountability, we need determination, and we need trust. These guys are not determined to win any football game. They're playing not to lose. Play to win, and trust the guy next to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I mean, I feel like Shad Khan's made his point clear at this point. He addressed the team. He has done multiple interviews since then saying I meant exactly what I said. He did it on the pregame broadcast this week. I mean, I don't know what more hey guys, remember when I told you I was serious about this? I really meant it. I don't think that changes anything.
Yeah, just FYI, I wasn't.
I really wasn't kidding. You know, and I get what you're saying. Like, where is the accountability? Well, what do you want to have happen? You're at this point, you're pretty much pot committed to who your personnel is. You can make a few lineup changes, right? But that's not a Shad Khan thing. I don't want the owner going, bench.
Right, that's the last thing.
Brandon Sheriff or Cooper Hodges. He doesn't need to be making those kind of decisions.
Even if he's right, you don't want that.
Correct, because he's not always going to be right.
It creates chaos.
Right. You hire the coach to do his job. Now, if you don't like the job he's doing, then you can move on from that coach. Yeah. I will say this, in the big picture, Doug Peterson has come here and had 2 winning seasons, and yes, he's off to an 0-2 start. And the last season ended poorly. There's no question about it. And things don't look good right now. But in the sum total of his time here, he's been here for 2 full seasons, and they both of them produced a winning record, which is rare for this franchise.
In almost 20 years, right?
And I will say this, I don't think the owner did anyone any favors by coming out and saying this is the most talented team in the history of the franchise. It's not. No, I'm sorry. You look at those late 90s teams, and you can argue 2017 as well, but certainly
it's certainly not as talented.
That Fred Taylor, Jimmy Smith era, man, come on.
Right. There's not 3 Hall of Famers that I know of on this team and on that team.
Right, or borderline Hall of Famers, or anyone who's shown that to this degree yet.
But that isn't why what's going on is going on. But it's certainly, whenever an owner says something like that, it's a season-long talking point.
Look, he can have his expectations. If that's how he feels, he's entitled to. He's the owner, right? And he's the one who ultimately gets to decide how long Doug Peterson stays here, how long Trent Baalke stays here. Boom. And that's it. So it seems like Shad has drawn a line in the sand. And I do think if this team goes 7-10 and misses the postseason, no matter how many close wins they have, there's going to be turnover. Maybe really significant turnover.
Yeah, that would be surprising if there's not.
But it's week 3, and that's just not going to happen.
Right. As expected, many of my emails on these same lines. When is Shad going to do something?
Okay,
and my answer is not week 3.
Okay, let's say it was. I mean, what the ultimate thing is fire the coach, right? Okay, so you fire the coach. Is it Ryan Nielsen now has the responsibility of running the whole team as opposed to just focusing on the one area where he's done pretty well? Is it Mike McCoy who steps up? Maybe Phil, is that going to change things? Or maybe it will. Maybe sometimes you got to shake things up. But when you say when is Shad Khan going to do something?
When you do that.
Not generally, right? Certainly, I can't recall any coach ever being fired this early.
You do it with 3 weeks left in the season,
or
if
you're halfway through the season and you think it's just going off the rails and it's not going to get any better and it may still be salvageable. I'm not saying that he'll never make that decision. But when you say, when is Shad Khan going to do something, that's really the only move he's got at this point. You can fire the GM. What difference does that make in the middle of the season?
True.
You're not signing a bunch of guys and what have you. So, all right, we'll continue along. Appreciate. Look, it's a highly volatile subject, and we understand that. We appreciate the fact that you still care enough to call in, and apathy has not latched itself onto you permanently here in Week 3. 641-1010. We'll get more of your calls coming up on the other side. John Oeser's in studio here with us. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Got them in my house. That's the best endorsement I can give you. I use the product or service that I'm talking about. In fact, I do that with all of my sponsors, but particularly Pella Windows and Doors, man. Every window in my house was replaced with that Pella high quality, including my sliding glass door. Everything looks great. The house feels great. It's more energy efficient. And that's what you want, right? Consumer Reports ranks them number 1 in all the major window categories. You can swing by their showroom on Phillips Highway or check them out online at PellaJax.com. Whether you're a homeowner, contractor, you want the best in windows and doors, go with Pella.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Kick off your college football weekend with a Bueller Air and Plumbing College Kickoff.
I'm Matt Hayes, and I'll help you slide into a college football Saturday with pregame news and notes.
Friday evening at 6. Brought to you by Sonny's Barbecue on 1010XL.
Do the gargle wiggle, gargle wiggle, wiggle wiggle, gargle wiggle.
If you're looking for a pre-owned vehicle with lifetime warranty, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Best price, best payment, best trade-in value, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. With a huge selection of pre-owned vehicles, Garber Auto Mall can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there is always a little room for wiggle.
Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle, wiggle wiggle, Garber wiggle.
Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Feeling the heat, Jacksonville? Cool down with Bold City Heating and Air. From repairs to energy-efficient installs, we do it all. Your system worked hard all summer long to keep you cool. Give it a spa day. Schedule a system tune-up. Call Bold City Heating and Air today and experience the bold difference. Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Bold City AC. Visit boldcityac.com.
Got a cracked windshield? Not only is it dangerous, but did you know it's also illegal? Call Baker Glass. Mack and his crew use the best auto glass in the market, and they accept most insurance. Plus, all new windshields come with a full warranty. From cars, to trucks, to RVs, you can count on Baker Glass to be fast and friendly. Just check out their Google reviews. Come see us at the shop on Casta Avenue, or we can come to you at your home or business.
I'm back with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hey, there's a lab-grown diamond and jewelry sales event going on right now at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Monahan's is known for its natural diamonds and gemstones, but we've had so much demand for lab-grown diamonds that now through the end of September, Monahan Jewelers is having a lab-grown diamond and jewelry sales event. We've brought in a huge selection of lab-grown diamonds and jewelry to meet this incredible demand. Lab-grown diamond sales event now through the end of September at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
I'm Jeff Middlecoff with Trustline Mortgage. My business partners, Alan Tyre, Bill Pappas, and Ken Rimley, have been helping first-time home buyers with their mortgage financing all over Florida for 34 years. First-time home buyers can get no or low down payments, anywhere from 0 to 3.5% down. As a first-time home buyer with Trustline Mortgage, you get added benefits for doing your loan with us, like lower rates on your mortgage insurance and lower closing costs. Oh, and did I forget to mention that Trustline gives first-time home buyers better mortgage interest rates? Here's the bottom line. Trustline Mortgage wants to help first-time first-time homebuyers accomplish your goal of home ownership. That's why Trustline Mortgage is offering the best first-time homebuyer benefits around, period. Trustline Mortgage delivers with no and low down payments, lower closing costs, and better interest rates. Call Trustline Mortgage today at 381-LOAN. Yes, 381-LOAN to find out how we can help you buy your dream home. Or visit our website at trustlinemortgage.com. Trust your instincts and follow the line to Trustline Mortgage.
Certain restrictions apply. See office for details. Trustline is an equal housing opportunity. MLS number 331480.
It's not just about relaxing. Fishing can be exciting.
That's a big fish in the box right there.
Captain Kevin and the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss and Veterans Wholesale Cabinets.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010 a.m.
I'm Frank Frangie for Ricketts Electric. Hurricane season is here, and now's the time to think about a home generator. My friends at Ricketts Electric can make sure your home always has power. They can install the perfect generator for your home and are even offering a 10% discount this month if you mention 1010XL. So call my friend Zach Ricketts today at 904-320-5960 or find them on Facebook. That's Ricketts Electric, the city's best power connection. Call them at 320-5960.
Bold City Brewery, established in 2008, is the oldest craft brewery in Jacksonville and proud to celebrate 16 years of brewing greatness in Duval. 2 locations serving delicious beers, seltzers, ciders, all produced in-house. Check out Bold City downtown on Bay Street or hit the production house and restaurant on Roselle Street in Riverside. Bold City Brewery, with something for everyone, brewing great beers and serving fantastic food to all of Duval. Log on and be bold. BoldCityBrewery.com.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Lauren Brooks for Big Chief Tire. Summer is here, and that means road trips, beach outings, and family vacations. Before you hit the road, make sure your car can handle the heat with a visit to Big Chief Tire. Their skilled technicians will get your vehicle in top shape, ensuring it's ready for those summer road trips. Visit BigChiefTire.com or call 904-932-0950 to schedule your summer checkup today.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Oh Noes
with Jaguars.com's John Oeser.
Brought to you by
Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars on 1010XL.
Did you get hold of your wife on the break?
Is it fixed? Dang it.
Well, go right to voicemail? I thought we were going to have the answers. Come back with the answers.
She
Promise
texted
people.
me, text you soon.
All right, if you could change or improve or whatever, like be it a lineup change, a philosophical change, the way they're calling plays, whatever, what would you do to try to get things going?
You know, I would look at the offensive line, but for the most part, they haven't made the plays in the big moments. I don't know how you call that at some point when you're 2nd and 7. But as you said during the break, they throw a touchdown to Christian Kirk because it gets called back. One of those next 2 plays, somebody needs to make a play and score.
Right, they're only at 2nd and 7. Second and goal from the 7 after the penalty.
Yeah. I don't know how much more you change approach if you feel like it's just, as you said, Cam Little making a field goal changes that game.
Yeah. Not, or Dearness Johnson, if he doesn't have that penalty, that does change the game, right?
Change the game's huge.
But you know what? Look, I'd rather have these wins ugly, but it would be masking a lot. There's a lot of bad play.
Sure.
And even if they had won these games, 2-0 wouldn't be world beater 2-0.
Yeah, I don't think a lineup change is going to make all that big a difference for the team at this point. I agree with you, John. Like, offensive line would be the only place you could even potentially look to do that kind of thing. And if you wanted to use the The Jags' offensive line was a little bit better in 2022 when Walker was playing before Cam got back that year. In the beginning of last season, the team was better, and Walker was playing left tackle, and Cam wasn't at the beginning of last year. Like, if you want to play those kind of games in your mind, let's see what it looks like with Walker in 2024. I think that's the only move you could make.
I'm fine with that.
Right, and I'd be okay with them making that move to Walker Little at left tackle, but honestly, even going into this week, I wouldn't expect a big bump. You know, if they made that kind of move going into this game against Buffalo. The only thing that's going to give them a bump offensively is when you have an opportunity to make a play, make the play. Like, that's the thing that's been missing to me for the first couple of weeks this year.
Who's the guy who's done that?
Made a play?
Brian
Thomas Jr.
Sure. He's the guy.
Like, he's the guy who has in a bunch of spots.
Find a way to get him more than 4 targets a game.
I absolutely agree.
Get him the football. I mean, make it part of your game plan to go out there and throw him the ball 12 times. And the ball goes to the open man. Well, scheme it up so he's the open man. You know what I mean? Like, until they start doubling him and creating easier opportunities for other guys.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Teams find a way to get the ball to their most potent playmakers on offense. Every team in the National Football League does it. Every good team in the National Football League does it.
He looks like you're a good player. Get him the ball.
Oh, no doubt. All right, let's get a couple more in here. Steve in Melbourne, you're next on Jaguars Today. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Good. What's up?
Hey, I'm just kind of frustrated because we brought it up during the off season. Okay, we got Gabe Davis. Now we got Brian Thomas Jr. These two guys are known for taking the deep shots, taking the top off the defenses. So our assumption is, okay, that's going to open up the middle of the field for Christian Kirk. That's where he's going to eat. You know, quick crossers, quick slants. Evan Ingram, same thing. Mind you, injured right now. Hope he gets better. But, I mean, we did find out Brenton Strange exists and can play. But I'm just wondering, like, so many things that we thought could happen just haven't. I haven't really seen them target the middle of the field that much. It's mostly down the field or out. And I'm just wondering, why did they seem to go away? They have no identity is, I guess, really what's frustrating me, and I just wanted to get your thoughts.
All right. Look, I can't explain Christian Kirk getting 3 targets, 1 catch for -1 yards. And we can talk about he could have had a touchdown. Yeah. Even then, you're talking about you're throwing the ball to him 4 times.
I mean, they've been running a higher percentage than maybe people expected. They've only had 50 and 55 plays. So when you take that combination, it limits how many targets each receiver is going to get. So I think there's a little bit of that. I don't think they're trying to ignore Christian Kirk. I think we'd be talking less about Christian Kirk if the touchdown had stood, but the number is still very, very low for Christian.
I mean, one of the shots they took to him was a deep ball between 2 defenders who are much taller than him, and they threw him a jump ball. Like,
right.
I don't, you know, like I do agree with Steve. Like, run some shallow crossers, run something. You know, if you've got Brian Thomas catching the attention of the defense and pushing downfield, it's like Tony said on the play to Brenton Strange in the flat when there's 3 defenders, you got a bunch of guys running curls across the board. No, you're not backing anybody off. So, again, I'm not a professional play caller. I'm not a play designer, but
the offense has to get cleaner.
Common sense.
I think Trevor's words after the game said a lot. They've got to get cleaner and they have to have better communication. And he had clearly had it. He was clearly ticked about how that went.
Where's that manifesting? Like, what does better communication mean? Are guys running the wrong routes, or guys not getting? Clearly, they're not getting the plays in and off on time in some instances.
In and out of the huddle, getting lined up right. The play not getting in quickly enough. XYZ, keep going. I mean,
but that's like systemic, man. That's if you can't get the play in on time.
I'm gonna assume this was a 1-game thing, and that it.
I hope so, because it does feel to me that this has been an issue in the past where you get up there and it's like all of a sudden you look up and you're like, why is the clock down to 3?
Right.
We've had plenty of time. Why is the clock down to 3? And Trevor's going like snap that thing.
Yeah, happens too often.
It does. It feels like it.
I wish I knew why. I don't. I know on Sunday it felt to me like the quarterback had it with that, and it'd be interesting to see if that's more efficient on Monday. I expect it will be.
All right, we got to take a time out here. We'll come back one final segment. If you're on the line, we'll try to get to all of you at 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, John Oeser, Dylan Denmark here with you. Just bemoaning the 0-2 start for the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll take a look at today's question of the day as well. What's the major issue with the offense? I think it's a runaway winner for the five guys up front, but we'll get into that poll a little bit as well. Over 400 votes on that one. So thanks for your participation there. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. You want a team that doesn't let you down, that has a game plan, that knows how to execute? Awaken 180 is all those things and so much more. They've got wonderful institutional knowledge of how to help people lose weight, but more importantly, or equally important, let's put it that way, how to keep that weight loss intact and maintain it over a long period of time. I've been able to do it for a year. Hacker, Matt Hayes are having tremendous success with Awaken 180, as has everyone I know personally who's tried the program. You eat to lose weight. There's no great exercise regime that you have to start up. There's no medications or anything like that to take. You eat and turn your body into a fat-burning machine, and all of a sudden you change your eating habits and the way you think about food, and it's a lot easier to maintain that weight loss than any time in your past. Hit your goal weight, free support for life from Awaken 180. How do you get started? Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or begin your weight loss journey by scheduling a free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Have you or someone you care about been arrested or had their driver's license taken away? I'm Susan Cohen, and I work with David Robbins at the law firm of Epstein & Robbins. We are experienced fighters for those charged with DUI and all criminal offenses. I've been named the best DUI attorney in the state, and David has been named the best criminal defense lawyer in Jacksonville. In your battle with the justice system, there is only one thing you need to know. Dial David 24/7 at Epstein & Robbins, 354-5645.
Hey, Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey of the NFL, it's not a kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why we've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more, and please drink responsibly.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Are your toilets flushing slow? Shower drain starting to back up? Bad smells? These are all major signs that your septic tank needs to be pumped out. Call DuckDuckRooter to schedule today. The EPA recommends you get your septic tank pumped out every 3 years. Call now if it's due. 904-862-6769. DuckDuckRooter is Northeast Florida's only master septic contractor that is fully insured. See our Google reviews. Visit DuckDuckRooter.com. 904-862-6769.
This is a one-of-a-kind Gabriel fashion sale.
Rings, bracelets, earrings.
All new for 2024.
For 3 days only.
September 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
Beards Diamonds in the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
When they were little, the other girls played with dolls.
Aww.
They played with footballs.
Who's them? Yes, it's us.
Helmets and heels.
From the First Coast Lighting Studios at 1010XL.
Weekdays noon to 2.
Some girls have all the fun.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Southampton invites you to enjoy a round of golf and then a round with your buds, thanks to their game day special. Every Saturday and Sunday during the season, order up 10 wings and a cold pitcher for just $22. Plus, being a member at Southampton has its privileges, like a $500 gift card when you join with a paid initiation fee. All the details are at golfsouthampton.com. Twilight golf every day with special rates after 3 o'clock. Don't forget trivia Thursday nights and music on the patio Friday night. All at the Golf Club of Southampton.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Hume Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Hume Flowers.
Homeowners, good news for you. Accent on 4. Listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Prosser here. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted. So low, we haven't seen them in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.99% APR. So whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in process with another lender, stop now. Call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days, with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Call 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Owner-approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
This is Dr. Turner Vossler, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Jaguars safety Andre Sisco on the opportunity for the 0-2 Jaguars to bounce back on Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, every week in the NFL is a championship opportunity. You're never mad on the Monday of the Super Bowl. So just, approaching it with the mindset that, we have an opportunity to change things, and it's a week-to-week league. Everybody, some teams start 0-2 and finish 15. So it's just that type of league. And I tell people it's like the NBA. Nobody's saying anything after 10 games in the NBA of who's going to win the chip. So it's just approaching it, taking it day by day. And like Kirk said, we got the type of group that's resilient enough, and we've seen it. I think the past 2 years with Doug, our starts haven't been a reflection of where we finished. So just, taking it day by day.
I'm Andrew Gibson with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 87.
I got to cool down a little bit. I got an extra day till Monday. I'm frustrated.
Tony,
like
you've been
everybody
doing
else
this show
is.
how long?
We've been doing this show.
years?
We've been
How many times
this
has
show
he
like
said?
time.
11 seasons.
11.
How many times has he said, I got to cool down?
It doesn't come up this early in the season very often.
I get
like
it. Fans are
2018,
frustrated.
we probably had this kind of thing. Like week 5, we had
Yes.
we had that. We all had that kind of moment. We've hit that inflection point so early in this season with the way the first 2 weeks.
We've had worse teams here,
Yeah.
but we anticipated them being bad.
Yeah, sure.
And so maybe we need to do a better job of off-season evaluation of how good this roster is. Or I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. If I look at the team, and I still like the roster that they went into the season with.
Yeah.
And what about the offensive line? Well, again, I understood their plan. Not saying it clearly for the first 2 weeks hasn't been great, which brings us to today's question of the day. Which of these is the most to blame for the Jags' offensive woes? Is it play calling, poor O-line play? Is it running back fumbles/penalties, which have been big moments in the first couple weeks? Is it Trevor Lawrence himself? Dylan, why don't we fire up the 10-10 take?
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brought to you by
Double checked. Cybersecurity made simple.
I'm going to do it like a lot of people who reply on social media to a poll like this. The answer is yes. Yes. It's poor O-line play. Yes, at times it's play calling. I'm sorry. When you have a play design that has your tight end, Brenton Strange, catch a ball in the flat with 3 defenders right in front of him, there's something wrong. Yes, there are issues. Yes, running back fumbles and penalties in key moments have maybe directly lost, right? Directly led to losses in the first couple weeks. Yes, Trevor Lawrence, particularly this week, needed to be better. Now, he hasn't turned it over. Imagine if the offense was turning it over.
Yeah.
What kind of shape they'd be in.
Might be 0-2.
And this is just the offense, John. As you made the point, like, hey, the defense right now, pretty much getting a free pass because the offense is that much worse, right? But yet, Cleveland dictated that game against the Jaguars defense in the first half of the game. So, can't get them off the field, let them run it right down your throat. You didn't let Miami run it down your throat. It was different. In Miami, it was the big splash plays. Right? Here, it was more like 4 yards, 5 yards, 3 yards, first down, and, just on and on and on. So that, to me, is the frustrating thing. If we could say, oh, man, it is only the O-line, that alone, and that's a big part of it. There's no question about it. 73.6% vote for that. I would tend to agree with that. Play calling coming in with about 19% of the vote. Trevor Lawrence getting about 7% of the blame here compared to the other things. And again, that doesn't mean that Trevor doesn't have responsibility. They all do. And the quarterback has a lot of responsibility because he is the face of the franchise. But it's not like man, if Trevor were throwing those red zone interceptions and you're losing by these one score and he's got like 3 red zone turnovers, or fumbling a couple of picks, you'd be like, well, damn, it's clearly the quarterback, right?
I thought from the Trevor perspective, there are plenty of things that have happened already this year that have gotten me frustrated, right? He's been too inaccurate with his throws when he's had time to make them, that kind of thing. I'm not all that frustrated with that third down throw, that everyone's been pointing out with the goal line throw. The second down, Etienne fell down. Right, that's a touchdown if Etienne just doesn't slip right as Trevor is letting that ball go. Third down, he throws it at the back of the end zone, and everyone's like, Brian Thomas Jr. broke open at the goal line. As we talked about the last couple of days, the defender broke to where Trevor was throwing the ball, right? Like, as that play was happening. I don't blame a guy that we've talked about for 3 years, protect the ball in that part of the field, being in that situation and throwing it where my guy might be able to make a play, but their guy's got no shot to make a play in this situation. What he did at the end of the first half against Miami, protect the ball, stop the clock. I've been waiting for Trevor to be that guy in that moment. He was. Like, I've seen some growth in areas where we've wanted to see growth from Trevor. The playmaking hasn't come with it yet for the team, but I have seen growth in areas where when I've wanted him to protect the ball, I've seen him do that. Right, throughout the season to this point, but we're not getting the playmaking stuff on the other end of it. I don't know at what point the coaches may go to him and say, forget it, go.
Right, sling it in there.
Just we told you protect yourself, don't run so much, go. We don't have anything else going. You have to go. You got to pick us up in these moments.
He definitely ran more this week, and I thought it was obviously effective, at various times. But, Pete Prisco highlighted the play where Trevor's in the pocket.
Brian broke open,
And Thomas is breaking open over the middle, and Trevor's escaping to the left, and there's no one. At the time he left the pocket, there was no one coming free.
Bad play.
Like, you got to hang in there and let that happen.
The thing with Trevor and the offensive line, I will say, the offensive line has had too many Katie bar the door plays. But on the plays that they've gotten people blocked, there's been more than a few to me where Trevor's had time and they haven't gotten a play out of that situation.
Because sometimes he hasn't seen the open man.
And sometimes when your offensive line is struggling, it's on the quarterback on the plays where they get it blocked. You got to take advantage of those moments.
No doubt.
And so far, that hasn't happened.
He's also had a couple of those sacks where it's like as soon as he gets the ball, he's basically taking one step and he's falling down on the ground because he's about to get killed. So, again.
And that's to your point with the poll. It's a little bit
everything. And that's, boy, if it were just one thing that we could fix and we could point to, it would be frustrating, but at least you could focus that frustration on one area. And I feel like, and I people think, all you do is just rain on everyone's opinion on what's wrong, because I feel like you got to acknowledge that it's a widespread issue with a lot of different things. And I feel like people think if you just change it, if Press just weren't calling the plays, if Balky and Peterson got along better, if Trevor had a little bit more moxie, if whatever, if the offensive line could block for a half a second longer, and that is the answer. And at times, on some plays, that is the answer. Mm-hmm. But the next play, it's something else. And the next play, it's something else. And the next play, it's something else.
On some plays, the answer is right.
Right, and sometimes it's, hey, don't let the other team just dominate time of possession on you in the first half as well, because then it's like every time you get the ball, you're like, how many possessions are we really going to have in this game? You ratchet the pressure up.
Yeah, I think answering the poll, I kind of, how we do this every now and then, I'll rank them in my head.
Rank them, Tony.
Like where I would, poor O-line play would be at the top, and it would be a big gap between poor O-line play and the next option to me, but Trevor would be too on my list. As far as the biggest issues, the most blame for what they got going on so far, I think it would be a real small gap between that and play calling. And then, again, if we had asked it, what's the reason they're 0-2? Fumbles, penalties would have been what I had at the top of the list.
Right, just a specific what most led to
as
these
the most
losses.
Explanatory cause of 0-2.
Because you circle those two plays.
But the most to blame for the offensive woes, no, because they got so many other issues on the offense. If they were really good on offense and those two plays cost them the 2 games, that would be the top, but that's not where they're at.
And is it play calling? Sometimes I feel it's play design. Right? Like, why is this play even in the playbook? It seems like there are just times when Trevor does that stretch fake handoff, let's say to the right side, and he's going to boot out the other side. And it's like by the time that happens, he's not Deshaun Watson. Trevor can move, but he's more like a build-up speed, straight line guy. Yeah. And, so he's rolling back, and all of a sudden he's looking up, and here comes a guy off the edge in his face, and now he's got to try to make that guy miss or throw it around him or whatever. And it just sometimes, and look, when it's rolling and your running game's rolling and they bite on that fake and everyone's flowing that way, then it's a beautiful thing to watch. But when it's not, you're like, what chance does this play have of having success? Right. And, we look at the outcome and go, well, obviously none, because it did. And they don't think that way when they're putting the game plan together.
They feel like the running game is having enough success to keep sticking with it, and they need to over the long run. And they have been effective at times running the ball, much more effective than they were last season. So I think that's part of why the play calling has been the way it is.
All right, we got the time for one or two. Just make a quick comment or your question, whatever it happens to be. We don't have time for a long preamble. William on the west side. Go ahead, William.
Yeah, good morning, y'all. I got the 24-hour rule. Absolutely. I'm just as fanatic as everybody else about the game. When I'm there, I'm yelling louder than everybody. I'm frustrated more than anybody else. But after 24 hours, I try to forget about the game. I'm not saying you guys need to, but I forget about the game and concentrate on the following game, what's coming up. I predicted that they would win these first 2 games and lose the next 2. But if it's in reverse and they beat Buffalo and beat Houston, how many wouldn't prefer that than and they be 2-2? How many would prefer that beating those 2 teams?
Gotcha. Well, we got to jump in because we're really short on time here.
True,
sure, if you're going to win 2, you want Houston to be one of them. Mm-hmm. But the problem is the way they played up until now doesn't give me a whole lot of confidence that they're going to do that.
Now they got to prove.
Right, to say, hey, look, if they win, and it is the National Football League, and I'm not saying they can't win them, but I'm not picking them until I see it. I got to see them play a complete game, and that haven't been really close to doing that at this point in time. All right, let's say hello to Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers. Discover BioTarget Regenerative Therapy, a safer drug-free solution for lasting pain relief. Visit GoBioTarget.com.
All right, Mia, how do we fix it? What's the solution?
Well, word on the street is you'd rather talk about Yankees baseball. So
I would.
So maybe I'm here. Maybe I'm here to talk about that and the resurgence of Aaron Judge and is the quest for 63.
You're the one who thinks
alive.
Aaron Judge never has a clutch hit.
No.
I have heard you.
So I have said that because I have a grandfather who has reiterated to me, even after Aaron Judge got paid, that he's gonna get hurt, he's not worth the money, and he continues to defy logic. So. I've come to the other side. I got to focus on the Yankees. What else do I have these days, man?
It's only an MVP candidate.
I mean, Iowa, good luck on Saturday against Minnesota.
Yeah,
but
nobody wants to hear any of it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah.
What's if you could fix one thing right now for the Jags? Would it be communication? Would it be?
Well, the communication part of it is what's so perplexing. And I honestly didn't get a chance to speak with Coach Campo yesterday, but I just want to know what is the definition of, quote, simplifying an offense, right? Because if simplifying an offense is simply creating more of a quick passing game, one read, get the ball out quickly, and not having multiple motions, alerts, and checks at the line, then isn't that where they were by the end of last year? And if not, like
the offense is pretty simple right now.
Look, right, that's what we keep being told, right. And so that's where I'm like, so what's the confusion? Because was the offense simple in 2022 when it was firing on all cylinders with many of the same parts?
It's an issue if you feel like you have to dumb things down. By the way, like every team in the league uses motion, does all these different things. Some execute to a higher level, and it's generally because of the quality of the player that they have. But you don't often see multiple instances of good teams not being able to get the play in, not being able to get the play off, having these motion penalties, these things that are just cripplers. This team has no margin for error.
Right.
Where one play, like Dearness Johnson.
Right, one person does something that's not in sync, and the whole thing goes kaput just like that.
Because that's your only chance to score. You're second and goal at the 7. Right. Score the damn touchdown.
Exactly. I had a college coach say to me that this offense right now schematically reads like a love letter to the West Coast offense. It's as if they are trying to write a thesis every time they try to execute what appears to be, if only on the surface level, because obviously we're not in the building. We don't know what the goal is, but from what the semi-trained eye can see, it appears to be they're trying to write a thesis every time they're out on the football field, again, as opposed to taking what is easy. And so I thought, Duval Rundown on our 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel, I thought Gus did a really good job of kind of breaking down some of the stats too, where last year, Trevor was the league leader when it came to quick completions, when it came to passer rating in 0 to 10-yard completions, 0 to 3-step dropbacks. And now he's outside the top 10. So if this is largely that same offense because they only took the run game down to the studs, what happened from last year to this year?
Well, they're not throwing those passes. I mean, Christian Kirk had 3 targets, not counting the wiped out touchdown.
So why don't you try to go back to that? Because at least you saw a little, you got to get some sort of rhythm, right? And even if you are no longer married to the quick game, you gotta do something.
All right, what's coming up?
We have a whole heck of a lot coming up on Helmets and Heels. A ton of guests, actually. We're going to dive into, of course, the University of Georgia. We are going to have... Actually, no, University of Georgia, our guest is on Friday, I believe, which I won't be here on Friday.
You have no idea what's going on.
No, I do. I just want to make sure I have the names of our guests. We have Eric Wood, the former Pro Bowl center for the Bills, who now is part of their radio network. He's going to join us at 12:36. We also are making our picks because I will be up there in central western New York the rest of the week. And so we will make our picks today at 1 o'clock as well.
All right. Have a good show.
Thank you.
There you go. Helmets and Heels coming your way. John, where are we going to catch you for the next few days?
I'm not sure when it's going to post or run or whatever they do now online. But Brian Thomas Jr. will be the Ozone Podcast guest.
All right. Will you dig into your wife's car and find the answer that you promised was there and then text me? Let me know.
I'll text you.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate that. I'll be on the lookout for that. All right. That's going to do it for us. Mike DeRocco bringing us breakfast tomorrow. Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence will be trying to move past last week as they address the media tomorrow. That'll do it for us today. For Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, John Oeser, I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the renewal